Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't want, I neglected to start that. So let me get back to this Payment Protection Act, which Paycheck Protection Program, which you all have heard of. I'm not going to go into it, but the SBA, as you know, through banks, has made this available. But what many people don't know is that there's another option if you have not been successful in participating in this or getting involved in this. Someone's got a lot of background noise. If they can, if you guys can mute yourselves, that'd be awesome. It might be someone on the road walking or something, or in the car. I appreciate it. Thank you. You can unmute if you have a question. So the Small Business Administration has approved for this program a number of fintech, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, companies that give loans. And you might not have heard of these, but this is rather new. It's through companies themselves or via their partner banks. And they might be an easier option instead of the larger, more well-known banks. And you might not need a relationship with them like a traditional bank you would need. So based on their experience, this is from Inc. magazine, by the way. This is a reputable publication. You know.
So just if I can interrupt, I did do this yesterday. I just figured what the heck. Yeah. And I have a friend she's a bookkeeper, and she really guided me through everything. But I did go through that cabbage, and I didn't go with my lender because I'm part of that People's United.
Okay.
And it really was such an easy process.
That's great to hear. So a couple of people have said that too.
I psyched myself out so bad. And I looked at it like a couple of different times, and I was just like overwhelmed when I really shouldn't have been.
You know, and I got to be honest with you, when this all came out and all these programs started coming, you know, the government basically was just shoving this down your throat and saying, okay, we did our job. And we're left with disseminating this information, which is why it's Matt Carberry and some other, I'm not good at this stuff, but you have to be to try to decipher, because when you get overwhelmed, the human psyche just seems to shut down sometimes, and it's not good. It behooves us to look into this. So that's great to hear, Lynn, that it was easy for you. And that's exactly what this says. It's relatively quick, easy, and efficient without too many complications. And that's great to hear, because I've heard that from a few people. So this is, the fintech companies have applied through PayPal and Cabbage, and they've received funding within a week.
And you really can, I mean, from what I'm understanding, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, please.
You, like, at least on this Cabbage site, you give them your banking information, and what they say is within 3 days of approval, it will be in your bank. And
that's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, it really is not hard. They did close down that other one, the EIDL or whatever.
That one didn't prove to be as good.
They're going to open it again.
Yeah, that one didn't prove to be as good because it was only limited to $1,000.
Hey, but $1,000 is $1,000.
Agreed.
I just don't, as far as me personally, I don't want to take any loans just because that's not who I am.
Well, you know, I had that.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
So the lender is Cabbage, and that is not a loan. It is a grant. Is that what you're saying?
So this PPP is not a loan. You don't have to pay it back.
Okay.
I went through Cabbage. Your bank, you can do it, and it's through SBA.
Yep.
But I just chose not to go to my bank because I'm part of that transition, and I just feel like they're so overwhelmed, People's United, that I wanted another avenue.
That's fine. I just wanted to be sure that I knew. I didn't hear who it was, and I'm probably the one with the noise, but I'm finally getting to where I need to be. So I'll mute myself again. Thank you.
So what, to Lynn's point, is that many folks have been coming to traditional funding areas, which is what they're saying here, and and they're being, a majority of borrowers have told us that they were turned away from their primary depository institution, which is why these others secondaries had become available. But I'm going to get this out to you guys. But these are approved PPP lenders that are approved by the SBA, and you can apply for a loan through them directly. Some of them have only accept application from current customers, so you'll have to find out. But believe it or not, PayPal is one, Intuit, Square, On Deck, Cabbage, as Lynn has alluded to, is here. And the one that Ryan Gorman notified us about is Credibly, Ready Capital, Blue Vine. So I will get this out to you guys. You don't need to take notes. I'll get this out as soon as possible. And then there are others working with partner banks, and they don't have SBA loans themselves, but you can apply for a loan through them, and they will package it through a partner bank. And a few of them, you probably haven't heard any of these, but this is all new. Fundera, Lendio, cool names, right? Brex, Fundbox, Nav, and Reliant Funding. So I will get these out to you, so you have these as a part of your toolkit. And I think to Lynn's point, apply for anything and everything. Like Lynn said, and that's a good point. When this $10,000 SBA forgiven loan comes out, everyone thought it was 10 grand, but it's not. It was limited to 1,000 per employee you have. And to Matt Carberry's point, well, even if it's 1,000, then it wasn't worth it for him. But for some people, it is, especially if it's forgiven, because it makes up for a lot of $500 rent a month or whatever it might be can cover you. Okay.
I don't know why anybody would turn down $1,000 free, even if you don't need it. Personally,
well,
absolutely.
Not for nothing, but KeyBank was all over me. Obviously, they're next door, and I know a few folks in there, and they were all over me for a $5,000 loan, and I'm like, I don't want it. I don't need it. What do you mean? It's 1%, and when you think about that, it's like free money. But in my situation right now, I can't do that. But you guys can. So that's one thing I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to share one other thing that I think is very important, and this is about and this is very important. This is recent news. This week, this was updated. I don't even know what today is. Today, the 27th or 28th? I think it's 28th. Thank you.
28th.
Thanks, Ed. Keep me straight. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, this is directly from the Connecticut Department of Labor. The contact that I had there said, the federal government is the one who approved this between the legislature, the House, the president, etc. But states weren't prepared to be able to do this because states' systems are antiquated for W-2 employees only. So Connecticut specifically, which is all we really care about, is going to be making this available by the end of this week. So this is a 3-phase product, and now we're talking about unemployment insurance, or it doesn't have to be full unemployment insurance. This could be partial. So if you're, I don't know, say your gross commissions are 30 grand a year, and to this point, or 10 grand a year to this point, and you've only done 1 or 2, that's partial unemployment. You are this is available for you this week. And I have heard of some folks applying to this and being denied. And the reason that you've been denied is because the system was not set up to accept 1099 wage earners yet until this week, the 30th. So the first part of this is the FPUC, which is the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Comp. It's implementation of the $600 supplement. So basically $600 maximum here from feds, plus a potential $600 from Connecticut. And it's also retroactive. I'm not going to go through this point by point. I'm going to let you guys read it. And I'm going to get to the most important parts here. The second part of it is the pandemic unemployment assistance, which was what the president had approved not too long ago. And the Connecticut Department of Labor is expecting applications to be available by April 30th. So this has been updated, and they're sticking with that timeline right now. Yeah, did someone have a question? No? Okay. And this is the part where the delay for the past month has been because the state is not prepared for specifically the covered individuals to also include self-employed and those otherwise that did not qualify for regular unemployment by federal law. It's 39 weeks of pandemic unemployment assistance. and it runs through retroactive to February 2. I have to check to see if Connecticut's going to, abide by that or not, but it runs through December 26th, the day after Christmas. It's a long time. So if you receive the PUA, are you also eligible for the 600 federal PUC weekly benefit? Yes. If you're an individuals found eligible for PUA, will also be eligible for the additional federal payment of 600 per week. That's 1,200 a week. Are they considered income? Of course they are. They're going to tax you on it. So there are two things you need to do. And
I
that's
think
why
you can ask to be, excuse me again.
Yep, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think you can ask to be taxed on that. So it's not going to be a problem when you do your taxes next year. So they'll take
prior
the
to
tax
receiving
out.
it? Right. Prior to receiving
Which
it.
I recommend people do, obviously, but I mean.
Yeah, because us realtors usually aren't good at putting money aside to pay taxes.
Exactly.
True story. Yeah. I've been there. So there are two things.
I have a question relative to this.
Yeah. Yep.
Does anyone know if taking those funds, unemployment, I haven't done that in 30 years. Does that adversely affect you aside from taxes in any way? Like, and this might be a dumb question, but does it impact potential Social Security at some point in the future? I'm not that far from that age. Does it impact anybody else and anything else? And does anybody really know that answer?
Well, I mean, I don't prove to be an accountant or anything, but
sure,
I ask
I
a lot of questions. I know you might find that shocking. Actually, you might not because you don't know me yet.
No, but I ask a lot of questions too, Lynn. So,
but
so a couple of.
I don't know about Social Security, but obviously it's going to affect your income levels.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm not sure about Social Security.
So two thoughts on this.
Negates. Yep, go ahead.
Two thoughts on this. If you don't need income and you haven't been adversely affected, then don't apply for the benefits. If you need money to live, quite frankly, who gives a shit about any impact anywhere else? Some people need this money to live on. And I don't mean it disrespectfully. I'm just saying, that's how I talk. I would, number one, check with your accountant and check with a financial advisor on those specific questions, because those are important questions. If you do choose to take this, that could have repercussions down the road. Absolutely. I don't think anyone on this call has the backing to be able to answer that. But for those in need and that have been drastically hurt by this COVID-19, this has been made available to those that need it to live, and it's there for them. And the process goes like this: is a 2-phase process. You need to file at this website, filectui.com, before filing for the PUI. And now, like I said, this is not open yet. You have to be prepared April 30th for this to be open. We'll receive notification in one manner or fashion. But you must apply for unemployment benefits at this website to determine your eligibility for regular unemployment. In order to be eligible for PUA, you must have first been denied from being eligible to receive or exhaust what you've received. So that's the first part. The second part is, once you've been denied, you must then file PUA benefits through this system and at the Department of Labor. And it encourages individuals to wait until shortly before the projected commencement, which is April 30th, for the PUA to file for regular PUA benefits. So what's happened is some people have told me they've been denied, and they're denied because the system is not prepared to accept independent contractors and self-employed people yet. So definitely start the process over at this site. I will send this out so you have it. But there's a 2-phase process to doing that. And that will be open this week. The next part here is, if I applied prior to April 30th, must I reapply? And this is where a lot of the question is from those who've been denied. If you applied for regular unemployment benefits prior to this activation, you won't need to reapply for another regular UI, but you do need to apply for the federal PUA benefits when the system is built and receiving applications after the 30th. So heed that and take this to mean April 30th on or about when this is available to folks, apply. Even if you already did, make sure you're in the system. You don't want to be left out of this, because this combined with the federal can be a potential of 1,200. And obviously, everyone's going to need to be vetted by whomever is, by the Department of Labor. Nobody's going to get, not everybody's going to be guaranteed 1,200, 6 and 6 from Fed, 600 from Connecticut. And it's going to be based upon whether it's a partial unemployment or whether you literally first quarter last year you did 30,000 and this year you have nothing. Then you may be able to get full unemployment, but that's not for me to determine. You have to go through the ropes and the hoops and to do that. So make sure you do apply for this if in fact you do need it. And I understand some don't need it or want to go through the whole process of doing it. But anyone that's in dire straits and needs us, absolutely, I highly recommend you do that. The third part is the PEUC, the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Comp. And this is going to be available in the future. You know how they said there's phase, what did the government say, 3.5, this 500, 400 something billion dollar, which is 310 billion just for the PPP. Who's this guy right here? Cool, someone new. So you can definitely participate in the third, or I don't know what they're going to call it, maybe 4.0, but the fourth phase of this as well. And more information will be coming out about that, but you probably already heard some of the politicians talking about the need to do another round. Like I said, the first phase of PPP was 13 days. It was exhausted. And this second phase started yesterday. So if you're going to jump on it, you need to do that now. So I'll make sure I put that out there. The program provides 13 weeks of benefits, as you know, and it's through the end of the year. And do you need to apply separately for the extra 13 weeks of unemployment? Yes, you need to file for the PEUC when that information does come out. And as soon as I hear anything about it, I'll let you know. But that's, again, available in the near future for the PEUC, which is Pandemic Emergency Unemployment. But the one right now that you should be concerned about is the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Insurance. And that's the one that the Department of Labor will be opening up this week. Okay?
Rocco, it's Christine.
Hey, Christine.
I thought this to be true, but I just looked it up, and getting unemployment does not affect your Social Security because they don't count it as income. So, I mean, not having any income affects your Social Security because it's based on what you make while you're working, but collecting unemployment does not affect what you would receive in Social Security.
Well, there you go. You hear that, Linda?
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Cool.
That
Thank
was
you.
my phone, by the way, holding my phone so I could get in.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I almost thought it was Peter, but he doesn't have hair that long.
So, I'm still learning this whole Zoom thing. So he's like, why didn't you have your video off? I'm like, I was on my phone.
I don't know, Rocco. You haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah,
that's
like.
you see him not combed over.
actually, I saw two. Who did I see in the office? I saw Karen today, and I saw Peter. I did see Peter. Peter was there. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so
All right.
I was there. I got my first tour.
Oh, that's right. Linda was there too. Linda was first. It was a pretty busy day, and Brian was there, and so we actually had a packed house, but not all at the same time. And we had our face coverings on, as per the rule, the new rule.
Yes, we did.
So I will get this out there. I'm recording this. I'll get the actual literature out there, so you guys are prepared for that this week if you want to take advantage of that. But I want to go back to the first part, and that is that nothing is normal yet, but it just feels extremely encouraging when you see some states starting to open up, when you see listings starting to come on, when you see some deposits coming in. It's just encouraging. And there's one thing that we absolutely positively need to tell the world out there, your sphere of influence, unless of course you don't feel comfortable participating at least 80 or 90%, we really need to sell the fact that right now there is just not enough inventory for the amount of buyers we have. There are buyers, and if there were listings or more listings, especially in the sweet spot, if you will, which is probably 180 to 300 right now, wherever, they will not last. So anybody and everybody you can preach from a mountaintop, please do. If you're comfortable enough and you can teach them and show them how we can do this business without harming anybody and with keeping everybody safe and at a distance, etc. And the perfect examples.
Came with more balloons, so every car can get one.
Awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I not on mute?
Nope. So the point I wanted to make there was there are 2 listings recently that were put on that I think show exceptionally well how we can do this business. And one was by Peter, his beautiful Victorian in Vernon, right? Or Manchester? No, Vernon. And Dawn Gagliardi, the one she did out in, I want to say Burlington, they both used Matterport. And right now, I have to say, it blows away it's nice to have you and doing a walkthrough of a home, but I don't think right now there's any professional product out there that's Matterport-like, where you can actually click on a room and see a 360 view, and you click on the footsteps and it walks you to that point. It's a virtual walkthrough. You can see from the ceiling to the floor and a full pan of the room. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you guys, and I'll send out Peter's. Peter just did a beautiful one on his Victorian, and like I said, Dawn did one as well.
What's that?
So I would definitely recommend, if you have a listing,
Yeah, but
that you push
so
that.
with that
Yeah.
being said, my opinion, like I have a couple listings that are coming, and I did look into that, and I'm actually going to do it on one of my listings that are coming. But on some limits, on some listings when they're lower end, it's, I don't know, financial benefit. I don't really know. I guess my question is, do you think we should be doing across the board, and if it's a lower end house, it's not going to get?
Well, here's my opinion on that, and you guys can throw your 2 cents in. In a normal market, I would say you're absolutely right. When you do listing concierge or Matterport or a beautiful video tour, you tend to want to see those on the higher end listings. But in this environment right now, when people, even buyers, are afraid to go in or they're just sitting on the sidelines, it's that extra tool. If you have actually seen it, if anyone has seen a Matterport, and
they're amazing.
It's amazing. It's like you're there in the house. There's nothing that more resembles a virtual walk or an actual walkthrough like a Matterport. And I'm going to share both Dawn's and Peter's. They're phenomenal, and I'll guarantee you that the views they get on that would more likely prompt someone from coming in the house than a static photo that you're shaking around on your phone or a Zoom, because it's not stable. It's not professional. It still gives them a better view. It's better than nothing, I suppose. But if you've seen the Matterport, so in this environment where people don't want to go or don't feel comfortable going, I think number one, it sells the seller when they see something like that, and secondarily, you might get more views of someone that potentially and eventually wants to go see it because of the Matterport. That's just my opinion.
Well, and totally, I agree too. With the pictures, you're looking at $100, and the Matterport's $175. And like you said, it gives you, it could get you more listings by showing, hey, we're not doing the open houses, but here's your open house with the Matterport. That was sort of the way I was looking at it.
Yeah, what kind of feedback have you gotten on? I know you just put it up there, but I think Dawn's on. Maybe she can give us feedback as well.
Yeah, I just put it on. I mean, people do love it, so I don't know about Don's, but positive, definitely positive.
Okay. Dawn, are you on and can you share anything if you've had any feedback from your Matterport? I'm not sure if Dawn is still on.
I'm glad
Dawn and I just finished a class. Is she on here now already?
She was on. I saw her before.
Oh, we
but
were
I was
just in
just
a continuing education class, but we just signed off.
okay. We were just talking about Matterport and how beautiful hers came out and Peter's came out.
What about mine, Rocco? I got 2 of them.
You have 2 Matterports?
Yeah.
How'd I miss? Do you really? On which properties?
Yeah, on Fraser Fur and Crane Road in Ellington.
Totally missed them.
It's okay.
Totally missed those. Sorry about that.
I haven't been blasting them out there because I don't know. They're out there on like Zillow but I haven't totally like used it on Facebook. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, what I was saying before you joined was that I really think, to the extent that we can, to push people that are in our pipeline that want to sell, that are holding off and that are staying on the sidelines, unless there's something extenuating, like they have COVID or there's a health issue or something to that effect, I really think we need to push people that are waiting to put their properties on the market as soon as possible. I really think we need to stress how important it is that we have some inventory right now because of the lack of it, and the buyers that are out there are looking for inventory. So unless there's really an extenuating circumstance not to do it, I don't see any reason to wait. And I don't know why we would be telling them, unless A, the listing agent is uncomfortable doing so, or like I said, B, there's an extenuating circumstance in that listing household.
Is the differential between the photos and Matterport $75? Is that what was just said? That seems very reasonable.
Matterport is $175 from what I understand. I don't know what Dawn paid. Peter said it was $175 for his. And I know that photos generally can be $100 to $200. And of course, in listing concierge, the total package is $225. So you'd have to pay some additional money for a Matterport to be included.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see Dawn on. Hey, let's see. Let me see if I have. I don't have that, unfortunately. I have to print it. Sorry. Hey, Don, are you still on by chance? Don Valentis? He was on and he had some balloons going on somewhere. He must be doing one of those drive parties. When you drive, I see a lot of those birthday parties. You guys see those?
Yeah. Yeah.
Birthday parties and kids' houses. Yeah, Pam.
Yeah. So I didn't do the same as Julie and Peter and all, but I did a video with a new photographer because my photographer was taking a break for a couple weeks, and he just did a walkthrough, general tour, like you were walking through, and he did a nice job. I will tell you, it was helpful. It was for my 64 Ridgeview Way in Ellington for 619. And I had people from New York that were interested. So they, I was able to share the video with, their agent shared the video with their potential client. But I sold it in less than a week. Now I have no idea whether it has to do with the video or not, but it went under contract in about a week.
And where was the buyer from?
The buyer was actually from Connecticut, but I had a buyer in New York that was also interested in seeing it. And so the video was sent to them, but it sold before they could even get there.
Wow.
Again, I don't know if it's the video that they saw or not, but.
Well, that's a good question to ask. If you can reach out to the buyer's agent and find out, what prompted. Obviously it's a low inventory, but that'd be good information to know.
Yeah, and I will tell you, high-end market in Ellington, like 450 and above, like 600 and above. There were only, a couple closings in a year and a half or so. So for this to go in a week, I was shocked.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
And it's interesting to your point about the New York. if you guys remember, and if you guys listened to Lawrence Yuen's talk about post-COVID-19, his prediction, and not only his, but other economists are predicting, even Brian Buffini's recent podcast, there are folks that they have nightlife and everything, that live in the cities, like New York City specifically, that are in 500 or 600 square foot apartments, these millennials, and they have had to sit in those apartments for the last 6 weeks. And what they're saying is they don't ever want to be in that position again. They've done a study on many of these kids. They might want to keep it and rent it out or something. But a lot of these kids, these millennials and folks that have these really tiny apartments, made them reassess their lives. And a lot of them, they're predicting, not a lot, even if it's 30% or 40%, whatever the statistics showed, is that they are going to be moving into the suburbs. The question is, what's a suburb of New York? It's more Westchester, Fairfield County, not really affecting us. But we have a lot of suburbs in our area. People that, in a northeastern part of Connecticut aren't too far from Boston. So the territories of Talon County might be suitable for someone like that doesn't mind a 30, 45-minute commute or thereabouts. So that was an interesting statistic from a study, that these folks and these city dwellers are stuck in this situation now, and they're looking at themselves and saying, oh my God, everybody's talking about love your house, and they're like sick of it at this point, because that's all they're doing is they're stuck in their little cube. So that was an interesting finding and study that I had heard come out from different economists. That was really interesting.
Going back to the video, has anyone ever used the DGI stabilizer? I have one and I have used it. I'm probably going to try that first before I do Matterport. Has anyone else used one?
Never heard of it.
No.
Okay.
I have not.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll just share, if anyone wants to jump onto this, Brian Gorman's interview on Cheddar, which I've never heard of. I'm going to have to look at it. But this is, I've added the last week of showings in our office. And Kathy Dene had questioned these numbers because showing time doesn't tell you it doesn't distinguish between whether it's a deposit or whether it was a closing that week. And it combines the two. But regardless of that fact, last week was our best week of the last 2 years. And it was 244% better than last year as far as between closings and pendings that's occurred, 31. And the other amazing thing that if you watch this and look at the trend, through COVID, we fell through the floor, I should say, as far as the first week of April, 159 showings in a week on our listings, down to 111, down to 94. But then last week it picked up to the highest point in the last month. So our showings increased 77% over the week previous, but it was higher than the first week in April. It was the highest since mid-March, before this really hit the fan, if you will. So our showings have increased, which means buyers are going out there and showings are happening and have increased pretty drastically. Now it'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe people just want to get out. Maybe obviously it was a beautiful Saturday, and a lot of those numbers might be in there. So the weather might be improving and people don't want to be cooped up. But the absolute biggest issue right now is we don't have enough listings. You guys know that if you're working with buyers, and we just need to have them. So if at all possible, we can share with folks how we're doing this. We're doing it safely. The Matterport, the new virtual showings, whatever techniques and tools we're using, we need to really communicate that to the public, that folks, it's okay. I mean, for God's sake, look at Stop and Shop and Big Y and Home Depot, and people seem to be living when they come out of there. So you can go in and out of a house safely too, with a mask and some gloves and a little disinfectant. So I think we need obviously be careful, be cautious, but we can do this. If we have the listings, they will sell, and we can get people in and out of there. So I'd be cautious of what some other firms are doing. I won't name the firms, but I've heard of a couple of our competitors literally having open houses, like putting an open house sign and having people come in. I'm not sure we're at that point right now. I'm curious to see if buyers even gonna. I wouldn't recommend it. I can't tell you guys what to do, but I don't think we're there yet. We're not even close to that yet. But I think we're doing it successfully. We're getting deposits. We're getting sales. People are getting the houses. I think we continue the cautious protocols we're using, and they're working. They're effective. We just need listings. That's the bottom line. All right, guys. I don't want to talk your ears off, but I did want to open it. Is Don back on, by the way? Don, you on? No, we lost him. I had him on, but he had a virtual doctor's appointment, which is pretty cool. They're doing that nowadays. And he couldn't make it. He was on for a little bit, but it sounded like he was also preoccupied with another function. So I want to open up to you guys, and just for anything and everything. What are you seeing buy side? What are you seeing sell side? Do you see hopefully a little bit more optimism out there, even though we're cautiously optimistic with everything happening?
I feel really good about what's happening. Even to have my high-end listing get an offer within a week, that's just not normal, right? And so considering what we're dealing with, and even some of my properties that got reduced had multiple offers recently. So I'm telling anybody that is in my queue, if you're comfortable, let's get it on the market ASAP. And things are just moving. Peter and I were talking earlier. We're just so pumped because at the beginning we were all like, oh my gosh, how are we going to sell anything? But I'm telling you, you list something and it's just like, it's like a feeding frenzy. And, people, in certain price points, not all price points, but some price points are just a little tougher. I've got some of those, but some of them are just really moving. And it's, I was just really excited today, obviously seeing that kind of activity. So
yeah, and that means though that the communication you must have kept up too, communication with buyers, sellers, people in the pipeline, because without that communication, they wouldn't know what to do, right?
I'm talking more now than I've ever talked, believe it or not.
Okay.
Just following up with people. You ready? They're getting painting done. I even have pictures being done for buyers that. So if they find something, they're ready to go with their listing in South Windsor, so I'm trying to just keep the ball rolling as much as possible. So,
good.
We could all do even more, I didn't write my 5 notes today, but I feel like I'm getting deposits, so I'm pretty happy today. So.
Well, you guys are all keeping Jennifer and I busy. That's for sure. We're processing, checks are coming in all the time. And it's like, you keep waiting for like nothing to come in and you just like, there's anxiety over it, but it's not happening. So there's a trickle and it's good news. It's good news. Obviously. Yeah, go ahead, Julie.
Oh no, I was going to say I'm experiencing the same thing as Pam. Is if you just talk to your clients with a positive attitude and don't sound kind of like wishy-washy about the market, you just say, hey, we put them on. There's low interest rates. There's buyers. Houses are selling. I have all my clients now back on board, ready to go on the market or going on the market. They're all having success, and it feels like a normal spring market, just without the open houses, and people don't all go in at the same time. So I really stagger the showings, but things are selling and there's multiple offers on everything in South Windsor anyway. But I'm having really good luck.
But to your point, just like with Pam though, but you've been communicating, you've been talking, you've been having virtual, I know you had like a staging, so you're continuing just in a different format and keeping people engaged.
Yeah, this is our new normal. We have to find ways to adjust. It's not going to go back to normal anytime soon. So we have to just adjust to it and create our new normal so we can continue to do business. And this is the way we're doing it. I tried Matterport. I tried the Zillow 3D tour to try it out, see if it was worth my extra money to market homes that way. see if there was a difference between the 3D Zillow tour versus Matterport. I didn't really notice a difference. But, you know, just trying it, in my opinion, it ended up, I just don't really feel it's grabbing people, but, you know, who knows? So I'm not going to really continue spending the money on those. But, you know, things are selling. So you just shift and adjust. And I feel like I want to try to advertise an open house in the next few weeks. I'm going to think about it a little bit more and maybe be a trendsetter in that area. I know my team would love that. And, you know, just ensure that one family's in at a time and have a line outside. I don't care, but have an open house in a very safe way where, you know, we just take the proper precautions, but as the state starts to open back up again, that's kind of been the one thing that's been on my mind is how do we start to do open houses again? If we can have private showings and we're considered essential, at what point is it like socially acceptable to start doing open houses again?
Well, it almost sounds like you, the way Fairfield County does it, you know, when you want to see a property, you have to call and see it. So you open it up, but you do the Home Depot method where
the Home Depot method, exactly.
The Home Depot method. Only
one outside. It's not
one person.
Anymore.
Yeah, one person every 5 minutes. They don't let everybody in at the same time.
5 minutes in the house. Set the timer.
So, true confessions, I actually did that this weekend, and I don't know whether I should have, but I did, and I did it on a rental that blew up unexpectedly. And I did like a by invitation to everybody that inquired, including realtors, and I had a line. And I had my applications and I pre-screened and everybody knew what the requirements were. And, you know, in 2 hours it was done.
Yep. That's awesome.
So, yeah. So that was just a test on a little thing, but I think it can work, Julie.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing. That sounds awesome. And I think that, you know, why couldn't we have it if we have one family in at a time?
Right. I had to be creative with a sick child and blah, blah, blah. So I had to get creative, and I wasn't about to schlep to Middletown and show a rental 20 times. I just wasn't going to do it. And so it was a creative way to try to get it done like an open house, but it was a by invitation. So it was kind of fun to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. You know what?
Fun to be creative.
Today.
Anybody else?
Julie, you going to go for this Sunday?
I'm really looking at what today is. Today's Tuesday. Hey, you know what? I'm going to talk with my team because I'm more worried about it being socially unacceptable.
Yeah.
It, you know, right now, people, I don't know, why not? If we can do private showings, why couldn't we schedule or stagger an open house?
Sure.
So Julie, if I get total social backlash, I probably won't do it again, but I probably should just try one this Sunday and see what happens.
Julie, I'll send you what I did just for the heck of it. So you can kind of see what I did. And then if it helps you, it helps you. If not, throw it away.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe I'll be the office's guinea pig and see if I get.
Yeah, I like that, Julie. Because you only have this Sunday, because then the following Sunday is Mother's Day, right? So.
Right.
You can always do it on a Saturday.
Be extra crazy. I know. I might try it for this Sunday for sure. I might, because I wouldn't start advertising until Thursday anyway. So I'm going to talk with my team.
All right. Let us know how it goes. That'd be interesting.
Rocco,
and like you said,
save me from jail if they send me to jail.
Realtor jail. Realtor jail, right?
Linda said I
could. I'm denying it.
That's true. Did management say anything about us still not doing those open houses?
Well, to the point that both Linda and Julie talked about, when you consider having an open house the way we're talking about it, you're really having like an individual showing at a time.
Right. On a Sunday.
On a Sunday. So it's literally the Home Depot method. It's one family at a time. You're the conductor at the door with your mask on, and you say, when these folks are done, 10-minute time limit, whatever, if you have to say that. And one comes in, one goes out.
It's not the state of Connecticut that said no open houses?
Well, CTR,
CAR and CTR
are not encouraging it. But if But if you operate it as an individual showing one at a time, what's the difference? What's the difference if you had that style of open house and a showing at 1, a showing at 2, a showing at 3? What's the difference? They're back to back to back. So I guess it's how you advertise it and how you,
Right.
don't call it an open house. Just say we're open to showings this day between 1 and 3. I will be there. Call for an appointment. And you do 15-minute intervals or some style like that. I don't see what's wrong with that. Maybe we stay away from calling it an open house.
Julie, if you want to call me, I'll give you more info on how I did it.
Okay, yeah. I guess, how do you have an open house without advertising for an open house?
Yeah, I know.
I did it.
So, all right.
All right, guys. Anything else? Go once, going twice, going thrice. All right. Sorry we lost Don, but I just wanted to get an update on the mortgage. But he said I did speak to him earlier, or texted him earlier, and he said he was keeping busy. Still a lot of apps. He's running with 3 offices. There hasn't been a let up. The buyers are still out there. It's just that they can't find anything, which is why a huge emphasis on sellers that are sitting on the fence. Let's kick them off the fence if it's okay for them and us. So, all right, folks.
Okay.
That's good. You guys have a nice rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, you too.
You
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye bye.